Is getting Derek Carr back the shot in the arm the Saints need? Listen, I got on this video and I was prepared to talk about Derek Carr. I saw the headline. I was not prepared that they had my guy in the next to the oranges. What is going on? Okay, the backdrop, I guess, is the produce section of a Rouse's, but New Orleans.football, the whole gang, we're talking about Derek Carr coming back for the Panthers game and what that means for the Saints. Who put my guy next to the Clementines? This is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Imagine, hey, look, get your money. Cash the check. Respect. This is something else.
Is getting Derek Carr back the shot in the arm that the Saints need to try to finish out the season in just a respectable type way or better?
Yeah, I think it creates kind of like an interesting paradox because,
bro, they've got Mike Triplett next to the Rotisserie Chicken. Can you imagine? Oh, my God. Can you imagine going in, getting a damn lemon pepper rotisserie chicken, and all you hear is Mike breaking down the Ugo Amadi All-22. You go in here for a couple of potato wedges, and you leave with a whole new understanding of Isaiah Foskey's game tape. This is the craziest thing I've ever seen. What Rouse's are we at here? This is not the one I go to. I usually go to the one downtown on Barone or the one on Veterans in Metairie, because the one in Barone is legitimately dangerous to go to. There was just a carjacking that happened around that parking lot. So, regardless, I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch this video. I'm going to be so focused on what's happening in the background. I'm going to be so focused on people getting the olives and the meat and cheeses from the salad bar, and then people picking up a Cajun Creole rotisserie chicken over Mike's shoulder. Shocking stuff.
Because there's a lot of people that would probably like to see the Saints just kind of go through the season, get a good draft pick, not win.
Look, there was the guy. There was the guy. You'll see him. Look at the guy in the orange shirt back here.
Probably like to see the Saints just kind of.
He's peeking at the damn chicken. He's peeking at the rotisserie. He's back here trying to figure out what he's going to eat for dinner tonight. If he's going to make some chicken salad, make some chicken soup or something, break down the rotisserie or just eat it. Next thing he knows, he looks up. Oh my God, I'm in the middle of the live stream. He looks up. Damn, they're about to ask me a question about Pete Werner. I got to get out of here. And he
go through the
hightails it.
season,
See you later.
get a good draft pick, not win too many games. Yeah. And, there's people that want the Saints to win games. And I think the Saints are obviously part of that group of people that want to win. And it puts them in a position where I do think that they become more capable, obviously, of winning football games. Not having Derek Carr through that sense, I think it was a huge deal for the team. He's someone that can go out there when things are messy and make a play himself, and I don't think that
Carr also provides some kind of stability. All right, a little foghorn leghorn for you there, some stability on the team. Like imagine, for Clint Kubiak just alone, the fact that I'm sure he didn't think he could call certain plays, he didn't think he could open up certain things in the playbook. We saw that against the Chargers, where everything was horizontal, everything was screens, everything was very safe. The fact that now he can say, okay, let's take shots down the field. Let's do some stuff that we couldn't do before. The receivers and all that, like the offensive linemen. I think just having that, you got to think, like against Denver, you got Spencer Rattler calling plays. You got a center who has been on the team for 10 days. You got Bub Means, who's running routes at the NFL level as a 1. You got Mason Tipton running routes as a 2. Like, there's a lot happening there. And there's no one can look to someone else like they know what they're doing. Mason Tipton looks over and sees Bub Means, and he's like, he's a rookie just like I am. Spencer Rattler looks over at Connor McGovern. He's like, I don't even know this guy's name. Looks out to Mason Tipton, looks out to Bub Means. He's thinking, I don't know what to do. It's the blind leading the blind out there. So having Derek Carr to kind of settle everybody down, be some kind of a stable guy in that huddle, and just on the field, I think brings kind of a presence.
They had that with some of the other guys, and he's just obviously a seasoned veteran. He's a top 25 quarterback in the NFL, and I think that you saw the floor drop on that position quite a bit while he was out. And look, I say whatever you want about him. Obviously, if you have somebody that's like,
I think top 25. I think top 25 is way low. Carr was playing at a top 10-ish level EPA-wise. I think a lot of quarterbacks that people thought were good are not good. Like before the season, we saw Jacoby Brissett put ahead of Derek Carr. We saw Anthony Richardson. We saw players like that. Like, I think it's pretty obvious that those guys are not better than Carr. Is Carr top 10? Probably not. But I would say he's comfortably in that top 15-ish world. At the absolute lowest would be like top 17, probably top 16. 25 is crazy low. He's way better than that. So, whatever you think about him, all I can tell you is this year so far, small sample size, he was playing at a top 10 level. Spencer Rattler was playing at a bottom 30. Last I checked, Spencer Rattler was 31 and Bryce Young was 32. Okay, so if Carr's playing at a top 12 level, that is an enormous upgrade to go from like 31st-ish. I mean, we saw what the upgrade from Anthony Richardson to Joe Flacco did for Indianapolis. Or we saw the upgrade from Deshaun Watson to Jameis Winston. Watson was playing in that 30, 31, 32 level. Winston is, I don't think he played at a top 12 level, but just the jump from bottom of the barrel to average is enough to see some pretty serious results.
The 20, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th best quarterback, you're always going to be looking for other options, and you're always going to be looking to upgrade that position. But that doesn't mean that that person is incapable of winning or is a hindrance to your team. I think he's part of the solution if they're trying to win football games. I think he gives them a chance to win this weekend against Carolina. I don't know how I would have necessarily felt about it without him out there. I mean, obviously, I think they would have won, but
if it had been Haener versus Bryce Young, I might have had to skip. I might have had to do something else. I might have had to go for a walk. I don't know what I would have done. I would have tried to go split the G for 3 hours down at Aaron Rose. I would have found something else to do. I don't know if I could have watched Spencer Rattler or Jake Haener versus Bryce Young. It would have been too much on my psyche. It would have been absolutely disgusting and disturbing.
I wouldn't have been as sure about it.
Obviously, I wouldn't say obviously.
I think they win with them on the field this week.
But I'm saying
they better
if they brought Rattler or Haener out again this week, it'd be an open game.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it would have been a sure thing. It lowers the floor on it a little bit. So I think getting him back helps you win these games. And
yes,
I don't know what that means overall. If they don't win enough to get into the playoffs, it's a partly fruitless endeavor in the grand scheme. If you're a fan, it makes it feel like the suffering was pointless because now you just lost 6 games and you're picking 12th. Like, that isn't where anyone wants to be. But
I mean, I agree with that, and I think it's a very binary way of looking at it. Is if you're not in the top 5, then you can't get a good player. If you're I've seen a lot of people say, oh, well, and I've covered this a million times, so I won't go into depth, but I've seen a lot of people say, well, we got to get in the top 5, draft a quarterback there, and then we'll be good. And it's like, that is absolutely not how it works. Like, being in the top 10, being in the top 5 does not guarantee you're going to get a quarterback that's good at all. There's plenty of examples right now of quarterbacks that were taken top 5, top 1 in some cases, that didn't do nothing for their franchise. So you want to talk about, is the suffering worth it? Ask Jacksonville how the suffering was through Blaine Gabbert to get to Blake Bortles, through Blake Bortles to get to Trevor Lawrence. Not good, right? So ask the Jets how that number 2 pick worked out, right? So, you just got to, or you could look at a team like Denver. Denver, they didn't have a top 5 pick. End up on Bo Nix, take him. Is Bo Nix going to be good? I don't know. But you do not have to be top 5 for it to be worth it. If we have the 11th pick, 12th pick, and we end up with a stud player for a team that needs stud players at literally every position, then we're okay. We can't go from 0 to 100 in one draft or with one pick. This is going to be a long roster rebuild. This is going to be a long process of getting better players in here. And so, no, I don't think we aren't bad enough with Carr to truly be like one of the worst teams in the NFL. I think we will probably end up, if everyone stays healthy, we probably will end up somewhere in the neighborhood of 7, 8, 9 wins. And that probably gets you somewhere in the neighborhood of the 12th to 16th pick.
These are people, practically speaking, that want to save jobs. The veteran players don't want to lose games. Nobody wants to invest, even the young players. Nobody wants to invest the time to go through all this and to be a loser at the end of the week. And they've done that way too many times. So, I think he helps them try to achieve their goals. As I sit here on the outside looking in, it's very easy to say, but the top 5 pick is probably the better outcome. Yeah. But it's not realistic. That's something.
This is a very, very dramatic example, but would you have rather had top 5 pick that equaled Mitchell Trubisky, or would you have rather had a top 10 pick that equaled Patrick Mahomes? Yes, some of it does come down to scouting, some of it does come down to who you take in your player evaluations, but have the Saints proven that they have any player evaluation capabilities to land a top 5 pick, to be in the spot to determine, okay, who is the guy? Who is the guy we should take with the 3rd overall pick? Are the Saints more likely to land a Trey Lance, or are the Saints more likely to land a Patrick Mahomes? I don't know. I don't know that answer. So getting a top 5 pick to me sounds cool. It's fun in Madden, but it's fun on draft day. But I don't think that guarantees any kind of a turnaround, doesn't guarantee any kind of an impact player. So I don't. With this franchise and the way that they scout and do all that, I have no faith that we'd be able to do anything with the top 5 pick.
You can say, that's fantasy football. That's not realistic. So, I think he does give them a little bit of something, but it's never going to be, enough to construct the team. There's only one wide receiver. Like, it doesn't make them a contender. And, that's
for sure.
That's the thing that kind of matters. Like, are you a contender or not? And I think just too much is lost for them to even be a playoff team at this point.
First of all, this graphic, this question you asked says, is he the shot in the arm? I don't think anything can be the. I think you need like 5 things. I think you need Derek Carr.
The respect back here. This guy. God bless, you love to see it. This is what it's all about right here. This guy rolls up into Rouse's in the black tank top with jeans, tucked into jeans. Does he have a cart? No, he doesn't have a cart. What's he have? All he has is a handful of bananas. My God. Unbelievable.
And Eric McCoy and Marshawn Lattimore. And I think you need the team to play better. And I think you need the coaches to coach better. This team needs a lot. There's no one guy. But if you had to pick number 1 on the list, it's probably Derek Carr. They would have had a chance to maybe win 1 or 2 more games.
I think with Carr, they beat the Chargers, but, is that for sure? No.
Maybe not, though, the way they were getting killed, even while he was out. But the drop-off from him to Spencer Rattler was significant. Spencer Rattler might be good at one point in his career. He wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
I think they instantly become a lot more competitive, especially when you combine a healthier offensive line, a healthier defense. I think it would be really a shame if Marshawn Lattimore can't play for an extended period, though, just when they started getting healthier. But Eric McCoy might be back next week. I think it becomes a more competitive team. I absolutely agree with Nick. As a fan, there's got to be a big part of you that does not want to see Derek Carr come back and have the Saints win 5 or 6 more games, finish 7-10 or 8-9, have the 14th pick in the draft. But if you really are entrenched and dug in and believe that this coach is so bad and this coaching staff is so bad and this roster is not good enough and Carr's not good enough, then you should want him back out there and you should want this team to be evaluated at full staff. Because if Carr comes back and McCoy comes back and they go 3-6 over the last 9 games, then everybody's just going to have to admit they're lousy. If they're tanking, if there's injuries, then we'll get a lot of the, well, you look beyond the results, there's different factors. Let's all watch this team at full strength. If they do go out and win 5 or 6 games at full strength, then maybe they do have something here worth salvaging. If they go 3-6, then maybe everybody deserves to be fired and replaced. But I think it's pointless to wish he wasn't in there. I want to see this team at full strength, and then I want to reach an evaluation. I want to know if Clint Kubiak's good. I want to,
Yeah, and Mike has a point here. You do want to see, and I've said it a million times, I don't think there's anything the Saints can do besides a miracle run where they don't lose a game. I don't think there's anything they can do to bring back Dennis Allen. I don't think there's anything that can happen to where they bring, like Cam Jordan's playing next year. I don't think there's anything that can happen where some of these players that are aging are all of a sudden going to not age. there's been a lot of stuff that's happened this year that I've seen that is just inescapable. You can't escape Cam Jordan's decline. You can't escape Demario Davis's decline. You can't escape that. You can't escape Paulson Adebo's injury, the fact that he won't be on the team next year. You can't escape some of these things. So whether the Saints end up 7 wins, 8 wins, 9 wins, or if they end up 6 wins, like I think they're staring down some very uncomfortable truths if you're the front office of the window on this group of players is done. And that's something else that no one besides me is factoring into this, is that Mickey has been kicking the can, so to speak, on this group of players for a long time now. What happens when that group of players either starts retiring or starts getting old enough to where they cannot do anything? Like Cam Jordan, he's playing 15 snaps a game. He is part of the kick the can down the road core. You know, a lot of these guys are already gone. You know, Michael Thomas was part of that kick the can down the road core. He's gone. Some of these players are just, because of Father Time or because of whatever else, like they're just kind of falling apart or retiring or just being kind of nothing. Like, so this idea, like you can infinitely kick the can, or this idea that the Saints may potentially infinitely kick the can down the road and just keep running it back. At a certain point, there is nothing to run back. You can't keep running back a roster and can't keep running back players who are not there physically or not there literally. You know, Ryan Ramczyk, there's a really good chance that Ryan Ramczyk will retire. But Ryan Ramczyk, Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, like Tyrann Mathieu, those guys may not be on this roster because of their own choices. Because they may say, I'm done with the game, or I'm, leaving and going to a contender for one more year or whatever. So who exactly are we concerned about kicking the can with? Like, who exactly are we concerned that they're going to bring back? If the idea is run it back, if the idea is run this whole thing back, who actually is in that? Who actually is part of that? I don't see it. Like the idea of like, hey, bring Dennis back so we can run it all back next year. Who actually is part of that group that Dennis is running it back with? We know Alvin Kamara is going to be a Saint. He just got extended. Besides that, who? Chase Young? He's on a 1-year deal. Chase Young's gone. Who else? Cam Jordan? Nope. Demario Davis? Probably not. Tyrann Mathieu? Probably not. Paulson Adebo? Nope. Who? Like a lot of these players, I just don't see it. I feel like people have almost like PTSD or something where they're so scared of the idea of running it back. They're not putting the pieces together that there is nothing to run back. The game is over. Like this experiment is over. This window is over. Even Carr. Like Derek Carr is on a 4-year deal. He's going into his 3rd year of his deal. He's 34 years old. And the contract is restructured for like, these are the get out years. Dennis Allen. He signed a 4-year deal in 2022. His get out year is 2025. You don't think they're going to get out in 2025? Spoiler alert. I don't know if you have a calendar around you. 2025 is next season. It's all lined up for next season to be the season where they get rid of all these aging players. The kick in the can is over with. The window is shut. All that is done. So if you're sitting here saying you want the Saints to lose every game so that Dennis Allen gets fired and blank player gets released and blank player doesn't get brought back, you're just not paying attention to what's actually about to happen. And you're confused. And honestly, you may have like this PTSD like I'm talking about where you're just saying you don't want them to run it back because you've heard it for so many years. But they don't have a choice and they cannot run it back.
I mean, I want to know if this is a team that can win more games than lose for the rest of the year. If they're going to finish with only 3 more wins because they're not good, they're going to get that draft pick everybody wants.
Just going back to the last time we saw Carr was against Kansas City on that Monday night game.
Yeah, and he wasn't good
was
then.
18 to 28 for 165,
ass.
2 touchdowns, and he had that interception at the beginning of the game that kind of set the tone for the rest of the game. So it wasn't his best outing of the year, but
Definitely not.
Coming back, haven't had time to kind of recuperate from his injury, kind of analyze what's happening on the field. I think he's going to come out. And then Carolina is a team that's actively getting worse. They got rid of one of their best receivers yesterday in Deontay Johnson. So this might be the game that they need to try to get back on track.
It's the best setup for him to come back and have success. I mean, this is
sure.
a great slump buster type team for them to go out there and it wouldn't hurt to see some of the magic that you saw the first time against them. And what does it mean if they do it? I don't know if it means a ton, but I think it would
I think it means that the system works. Like a lot of, we talked about hiring Mike Vrabel in a video this week. And a lot of people were like, hire Ben Johnson. And I explained that in the video, but I said, I have full faith that Clint Kubiak has the capability to run this offense. If we see the offense look good through the rest of the season, good, because that means we have something with Kubiak. So, and that kind of gives you a guidance of what you want to do with your next head coach, as far as like who you go get. You go get, a defensive guy or whatever, a man manager, because you know that the offense is fine. It's like you're kind of uncovering parts of the Sudoku puzzle. Now, if the offense is ass, kind of opens things up, right? Because if the offense is terrible, maybe you do look at Ben Johnson. Maybe you do look at an offensive guy and reset this whole thing and go get a new offensive guy, a new head coach, a new DC, whatever. So those are the kind of things you got to look at on top of the players, on top of the roster. You're looking around like for the remainder of the season, is Chris Olave the one? Do we need a better wide receiver one and let Olave be the two? It is, every position, you're looking at Talise Fuaga. Okay, is he a true cornerstone left tackle? What do we have in Trevor Penning? So it's a discovery phase for the rest of the year, barring some insane run. But there's a lot to watch. There's a lot to break down during these games.
Probably, feel good, and it would probably help them get some of the positivity back that I know for a fact is lacking right now. I know they had a captain's meeting and everything, and the message was that everything was all good. I mean, I've heard some people that are frustrated, and they should be frustrated.
They should be frustrated.
I think that's just the reality of the situation. And if you lose to Carolina, I think you're in a very, very bad and dark place very quickly. But if you have a good game and you win and it looks good and it feels good.
By the way, if we lose to Carolina, I think Dennis Allen will be not on the plane back to New Orleans. I think they'll fire him immediately. If we lose to Carolina, that will be the absolute point of no return. He'll be so. If you want Dennis Allen fired immediately, if that's your only goal, root for Carolina.
And it is like it was, the first time they played. I think that would help quite a bit. Even if it's half of that, I think it would help quite a bit. They really need to find a way to get back on the right track, look like a good football team, have a good offense.
Yeah.
And Mike's right. Like, you want the full evaluation of things, and I don't think the first 3 games were terrible. I thought Philly had a good plan against them, and I thought they fought hard, and then they ultimately lost at the end. I thought they looked okay against Atlanta. Defense had a huge break in that game. They lose it. I don't think anyone could have won against Kansas City with that offensive line, against that pass rush, against that defensive core.
I'm with you. Like, we could have and should have won against Philly and Atlanta. I don't think they were good performances, especially not defensively. But Tampa, Denver, Kansas City, those were losses. I don't care if Carr's playing. I don't care who's playing. Those are losses. So the 2 that we let slip, no doubt about it, Atlanta and Philly. And if we would have won those 2 games, think about how different the situation would be right now. Think about how different everything would look. Even just one of those games. Like if we would have beat Atlanta at Atlanta with a game against Atlanta coming up, everything would still be in front of us. But you just dropped, we had a bad situation where we dropped the coin flip games, and then we got hurt to where we really couldn't win the games.
Coordinator, and that's not making an excuse. Like, sometimes attrition is a real thing, and it was real there. But you want to get to the end of this, and you don't want anyone to be able to say, well, what was the reason? If they didn't have this, they didn't have that, they didn't have this. So get them on the field and find out. If they aren't a good team, they might not be a good team. Look, I don't know that the results change in any of the last 3 for certain with Carr on the field. They probably lose the first 2 for sure. I think the Chargers was a winnable game with the real with your starting quarterback on.
Jesus, look at this cart. Is this an employee? My God, look at the cart. Oh, I missed it. See back there. Look at this cart. Oh, it's got to be an employee. Otherwise, way too many groceries. I feel like I'm on a supermarket sweep.
Your starting quarterback on the field.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't, though, but it was the only one that I feel like might have changed. I don't know about the other 2, just given all the injuries and everything. Derek Carr is not a guy that's digging you out of the ditch, but if you give him the right people and everything.
Denver even felt, wasn't it like, I'm remembering back, wasn't that like a 1-score game until?
Brother, we got absolutely dog walk smoked against Denver. Hell, how many Crown and Sodas did you have in that game? And you don't have to answer. No, respect. But, brother, Denver was a beat down, belt to ass, just embarrassment.
Like,
Chargers?
The fourth quarter, Denver even. Like, I'm saying, like, maybe the defense doesn't just totally collapse if the offense is scoring points.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like that.
It could be a different reality.
That
Who
one,
knows?
that one
But
felt so nasty at the end, though, that I can't give them credit for
no.
it. Like, it just felt,
Denver
helpless.
and
It
Tampa
felt
were
like
disgusting.
people were asking if players quit. You know, like it was. I can't rewrite it, but you're right. It's possible. It's possible, but I don't even want to. Like,
No,
I'm not giving them that credit for that one. But yeah, I mean, look, you want to see them out there. You want to see what they can do, and just let's have no excuses at the end. Let's just really know what it can be at the end, and hopefully at the end of the road, there's a real and fair and honest evaluation of everything. And if they succeed, they succeed, and if they don't, they don't. And let it just be based on the merit of that.
Derek was available for media availability today, and we have the full interview on YouTube. But, Mike, you were out there, and one thing that he kind of talked about was what he saw from Rattler and Haener throughout their time as a starting quarterback. Kind of summarize what you kind of thought of his thoughts.
Yeah,
I cannot believe the setup right here. I mean, this shot is blowing my mind. They got these guys, I mean, on some Cracker Barrel wooden chairs. Mike's fighting for his life in this chair, trying to balance the laptop next to the rotisserie. They're legitimately inside of, like, the busiest part of Rouse's. I mean, this is just something else. Unreal. How much did Rouse's pay?
I made up the Denver thing. I think I'm thinking of San Diego, or I mean the Chargers. They all blend together.
Yeah, you can tell the rotisserie's getting to Mike. He might be he's huffing the fumes, the plastic, whatever's going on back here. The potato wedge seasonings is starting to get to his brain. His psyche is shattering in front of me, you, and the grapefruits back here. I mean, I'm not sure. He's mixing up Denver with San Diego, who's not even a franchise anymore. We're falling apart, Mike. You got to get out of the produce section, go for a walk.
They were never in the Denver game. I mean, he was very, I think, kind to the guys, who played in his place.
What are we even talking about?
I mean, he recognizes that it was not only tough to throw them out there where they are in their careers with their experience levels, but with the offensive line and the receivers they were playing with as well. The thing that stood out to me most about talking to Carr today, and he could be selling this. Everybody always talks about how great they feel. But my concern was, we know Derek Carr likes to push the envelope and come back as quick as possible. We saw it multiple times last year where he never missed a start. We heard him talking about how he wished they could shoot him up and send him right back out there when he originally got hurt. And I was worried that meant the first day that they said, well, maybe you could come back, that we would see him out there even when he could only throw it 20 yards down the field, trying to do whatever he could, limited. And he insisted that he said, no, we all agreed I won't go back out there until I can rip it 60 yards down the field. Otherwise, what's the point? He said he would have told them he wanted to play last week, but they told him all along, we're not even going to consider it till this week. And he agreed to that. And he talked to Drew Brees, who said a couple years ago that his mechanics got messed up when he came back too early, and they all agreed they shouldn't do that. So I'm sure that he will still be somewhat limited, but it sounds like he feels closer to 100%, and he's been throwing deep balls, and we're not getting 75% Derek Carr in this game, which I think is important too.
He better not be limited. Like, if he's limited, I just keep him out of there at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if he comes out, I'm with Nick on this one. Like, if he comes out and he's limited and we get rolled, it's like, why are we even playing him? Like, at that point, if you're 80%, it's like, dude, what are you coming back for? If you wanted to risk it for the biscuit and come back early to try and save the season, that would have been last week. Now, I mean, what's another week? So yeah, if he's limited at all, keep him out of there. Like,
this is going to sound insane, but there seems to be, like, the harsh criticism of these results right now. If he's not 100%, I'm putting somebody else out there, because now they're being understanding of what's causing these losses, and it seems like the people that are above DA are blaming it on health and believe that the health is the issue. I wouldn't rush it then. If he's not 100, like, don't bring him back until he's 100%, because you need to save your own ship, like, and him being healthy the whole year. I don't think they put him out there unless he's 100%. I agree. I don't think it's going to be, well, he can't do this or that. Like, he better be good to go when you put him back out there.
And to finish this off, one of his favorite targets, Rashid Shaheed, is not going to be out there. He, went on IR and
for the rest of the season.
Yeah, for the rest of the season. So he'll have to find a way to get Olave.
Maybe he'll have to throw to Chris Olave.
Yeah.
Valdez Scantling will probably have a significant role in this game. Yeah. So I mean, some other people are going to have to step up. I mean, you got to find a way at this point. Denver's winning games with Saints cast-offs at receiver, so you got to find a way to win games right now.
I mean, a lot of teams, a lot of teams find a way to win the game with injuries, and we saw San Francisco. Like San Francisco, riddled with injuries, got injured during the game against Dallas. They're sick. Some people have pneumonia, and beat the holy hell out of Dallas. Dallas on a bye week. So, yeah, good teams do find a way, and some teams that are not talented, like Denver, doesn't exactly have the most talented players I've ever seen on offense, but Sean Payton's finding a way. And, so, yeah, that is part of it. Now we're relatively healthy. I mean, we've been hitting the injury drum for weeks and weeks and weeks, deservedly. Like, again, guys, when you're down 5 offensive linemen, you are playing legit practice level, free agent level, USFL level players. Like, yeah, you're going to get rolled by Kansas City and Tampa Bay. No doubt about it. But, I mean, right now, yeah, we're missing Rashid Shaheed, but besides that, it's like Eric McCoy, and we're pretty much healthy. So we got to see something. We got to see it quick.
No.
There you go. All right, get on down to the produce section. Support these guys. Pick you up a rotisserie chicken. Unbelievable stuff here. Nothing could have prepared me for this. But boom, let me know in the comments below what you think. Is Derek Carr going to be a, quote, shot in the arm that the Saints need? I will see you in the next video.